football fans. Welcome back to the Nene Show. Thanks for tuning into Football Extreme. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos on the channel. The Premier League season has kicked off with a bang. It hasn't disappointed us at all. Last week we saw Man City take on Spurs, and Spurs pulled off an upset by beating Man City 1-0. This past weekend, we saw Arsenal welcoming Chelsea, and it was a debut match for Romelu Lukaku after completing his £97 million move from Inter Milan, and he did not disappoint. He scored a goal on his debut, and Chelsea ran out 2-0 winners on the night. As you guys would know, last season Chelsea struggled a lot with goals. There was Timo Werner there, but he was just missing too many opportunities. So Chelsea needed to add to that end of the field. And Lukaku, his first match, he stepped up and he's delivered the goods. Now, at the moment, Chelsea sit top of the log. They've won 2 games out of 2. They've scored 5 goals in those 2 matches, and they haven't conceded any goals so far. Another team that has a similar record is Liverpool. They also sit second, 2 wins out of 2, 5 goals scored in those 2 games, and no goals conceded. Funny enough, those 2 teams tackle each other out on Saturday, the 28th of August, in a late kickoff, around about 6 o'clock, 6:30 South African time. We will be seeing Liverpool welcoming Chelsea, Reds welcoming the Blues. It should be an interesting encounter indeed. We're going to see Van Dijk versus Lukaku, and that should be an interesting battle between the 2 players. Now, moving along to a team, Manchester City. As I mentioned earlier on, they lost away to Spurs 1-0, and in their second game of the Premier League, they needed to respond and also maybe send a message to the rest of the team that, hey, last week was just, one of those bad days at the office. So they beat Norwich 5-0. Very, very dominant display by Man City, the Man City that we all know over the past few years. As I said last week, was probably a bad day at the office. Interesting though, in terms of the scorers of that match, the first goal was an own goal, so that's okay. The other 4 goals came from 4 different players. Jack Grealish, Sterling, Laporte, they were all on the score sheet. Now, the question that we have is, after seeing Chelsea going out there splashing £97 million on Lukaku, does Man City have a bit of pressure on themselves to go back and submit another bid for Harry Kane, or can they challenge for the league with the current players that they've got? I mean, Mahrez chipping in with the goal as well. That's how they did it last season. Can they do it again this season, or will they be concerned that Chelsea was able to add that firepower up front and they struggled to land their firepower up front? There's 7 days to go in the transfer window. Anything can happen. Will this transfer happen, or will Harry Kane remain at Spurs? And obviously Man City would have to continue doing what they did last year by just getting goals from midfield, and hopefully that gets them over the line. But is that a gamble that they can take when all they have to do is just add another 15 or 20 million on top of what they initially offered and get the best striker in the league? It remains to be seen. Now, this weekend, the 28th of August, there's 2 blockbuster matches. It's actually a Super Saturday. We normally get a Super Sunday, like what we had yesterday with Arsenal taking on Chelsea. But this weekend, we've got a Super Saturday. It kicks off with Man City welcoming Arsenal. Man City has dominated Arsenal for a long time. Arsenal haven't won a single game. They haven't scored a single goal. So it's a very, very interesting encounter to be searching for your first win or first goal or draw or anything out of that match. Man City, it's a must-win encounter for them. If they were to remain close to Liverpool and Chelsea, who currently top the log at the moment. And the late kickoff on that day is Liverpool welcoming Chelsea. And in that encounter, we're going to see Van Dijk versus Lukaku. Who will win that battle? As a neutral, I just cannot wait to see. It's going to be a boxing match, round one, and at a later, in the second leg, hopefully, the teams are more settled, and maybe that match will be giving us an idea as to who's going to win the league, etc. But at this point, as a neutral, it's just a very, very mouth-watering clash to look forward to. As I said, Van Dijk versus Lukaku, best defender in the league versus the best striker that we all missed in the league. It definitely hoping it lives up to expectations, and I really hope that it does live up to expectation and it doesn't end up in a draw like what we've seen in previous years whenever there was a high expectation of the match. That's it from me on the Nene Show. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys next time.